Hey guys, welcome back for the special holiday edition of Cooking with Paul, like I promised last time. And I'm actually here filming from my brother's house in Lubbock, Texas. And today we're going to be doing it's another kind of method over ingredients thing. But we're going to be making cinnamon rolls today, really good cinnamon rolls. But really what I want to focus on is the actual dough and how to make it. It originates, I learned it from a chef, Richard Bertinet, French chef, and it's a really unique way of, he doesn't call it kneading, he calls it forming the dough, so very French. So anyway, we're gonna get into the ingredients and then we'll get to the method. All right, so for the ingredients, we've got, first of all, just all-purpose flour, 18 ounces by weight, and we're gonna add 4 tablespoons of softened butter. And really what we're just going to do is, first of all, we just want to work that in. Just using your fingertips. If you've ever made biscuits or scones, this is kind of the same method. So just kind of work it in until it starts to get like a crumbly type of texture. It's really not going to be exactly all mixed in, but just give it a good work. Okay, so once that's kind of worked in and all your butter is kind of well distributed, kind of looking like that, go ahead and add your next 3 ingredients. We got 1 package of just plain old active yeast, and I know you normally kind of add this with warm liquid and let it bloom and everything, but we're not going to worry about that. 3 tablespoons of sugar and a teaspoon and a quarter of kosher salt, and just give that a quick mix. So next, our liquid. 2 eggs, and if you can have them room temperature, that'd be better. Really don't want to pull them out of the fridge ice cold. And some warm milk. We have 1 cup. And here's where we're going to divert from our hands and go to a spatula and really just start mixing it up. And this is going to come together and form a really wet dough. So once all your ingredients are pretty much incorporated, this is pretty much what it should look like, right about there. Really sticky, and that's what you want. So this is ready to go onto your board for forming, as Chef Bertinet would say. So let's get all the stuff out of the way. You want a nice clear board, and no flour, no oil. We don't want anything on the board because we actually want this dough to stick. This is what's going to help us form the dough. So just right on to your board. All right, and you might want to pull your sleeves up for this. This is where we're going to get a little dirty. What you want to do is take your fingers just like this, like 2 pairs of forks, go right underneath, and pick up your dough just like that, and throw it down on the counter and fold it over itself. And what that's going to do, it's going to trap air inside the dough. And if you've ever really kneaded dough, in the standard fashion of really pushing that dough, with the heel, you get this really dense texture, and the crumb of your bread has really fine bubbles. I mean, that's good for some aspects, but for a sweet dough like this, if you're going to do cinnamon rolls or donuts, you want something really fluffy, Something if you picture going to Shipley's Donuts or Krispy Kreme or anything like that, it's not a dense texture. It's really light and airy, and that's what this is going to do for us. So you want to slap it down so it'll stick and fold over, and you're going to trap air inside. You keep going like this for about 7 to 10 minutes. On your first time, it might take you 15 minutes, but I tell you what, it's worth it. So,
Daddy, what are you doing?
I'm making dough, buddy.
Oh.
Take your scraper. Just like that. See how great that is, getting all the dough up? And then go at it again. Pull, flop over. Pull, flop over.
Get that?
Yeah, and you can really see how the dough is really starting to form itself. It looks completely different, and I've only been doing this for about 3 minutes. It's really starting to form itself, gluten's starting to form, and it's really staying together quite well. A few more minutes and this should probably be done. So the dough is just about there. As you can see, it's really coming off the board, no sticking anymore. And I'm kind of flipping it over itself like that. And it's still a little bit sticky on my fingers, but it's really all coming together. So once you reach this point, you know it's just about done. And what I like to do is maybe just add a little bit of flour, you know, save some, just to kind of form it together. And that's about it. So throw a little flour down. And fold it over itself. And you got a nice ball. And as Chef Bertinet would say, soft as a baby's bottom. So that's it for forming the dough. Now we're gonna let it rest for about 2 hours. And just get a good big glass bowl and lightly flour it because you don't want it to stick to the bowl. Place it in there, and usually I use a tea towel to kind of let it expand, but I'm going to use plastic wrap this time because I'm going to show you how the dough rises. So, 2 hours, let it rest. All right, so the dough has risen. It's been about 2 hours, and as you can see, or as you saw from the little snippet there, the dough's risen quite a good amount. And so what we want to do is first just flour your board, or if you got, you know, a countertop, just get a good amount of flour there. Move everything out of the way. And we're going to roll this out into a rectangle. And if you've made cinnamon rolls before, it's pretty much standard procedure. But really, you want to be careful about getting this out. We worked really hard to put a lot of good air in here, so don't rip it out, or definitely don't punch it down like any of the typical recipes would say. So just, you know, just kind of gently pull it out. You're going to lose a little air, but that's just what's going to happen. All right, and you can see those great gluten strands just pulling, and that's just going to make the dough really, really nice. The dough is really soft, full of life, as Chef Bertinet would say. So, just take a little rolling pin and a little bit of flour. And just really lightly roll it out. And, I mean, I really don't have a size. It's just probably to about 3/8 of an inch. Just want it to be fairly even. You don't want certain places a lot thicker than others. Doesn't have to be perfect. There's no room for perfection in the kitchen. I've learned that too many times. I've been disappointed way too much, expecting perfection, so don't worry about it. Yeah, that looks good to me. All right, we got 4 tablespoons of softened butter, and yeah, there's a lot of butter in this dish, but it's good. So, hey, it's a holiday dish. It's a holiday recipe, the holiday edition of Cooking with Paul, so might as well go all out before New Year's and everybody goes on a diet. So just spread this all over. Okay, well there we go. Everything's nice and buttered. A little cinnamon and cover it. Now, there's really no specific amount, just cover it all. Beautiful. And a little bit of brown sugar. Some people say that brown sugar kind of draws moisture out of the dough and they don't put it in, but I don't think that's, I think there's some truth to it, but I don't think it does all that much. I really think it adds a lot of good texture that you miss from what you think of as the typical inside, you know, the center portion of a cinnamon roll. So I think it's really kind of necessary that you have it in there. But it's not a lot, so there we go. All right, so now we're just gonna roll it up. So starting with the edge that's closest to you, just kind of get your thumbs on it and start in the middle and work your way to the outside. Just like that. And then just make sure it's a nice tight little roll. And just work your way like that. You can use your fingertips like this if you need to. And if it starts to stick like it does here, just get a little bit of flour and it's not a big deal. It's always a good thing to have a little bit of extra flour with you as you do this. All right. That will stick. There we go. So, where our seam is, just pinch. Seal up that edge. Good. Then roll that onto the bottom. Great. I like to kind of shore up the ends because they usually kind of come out as points. We got a great little roll here. Now, here's where I've failed many times, and I've seen a lot of people try this of just cutting these with a knife, and it never works. What really works is dental floss. So make sure you get non-wax, just regular. You don't want, not wax, doesn't really matter, non-minty. You don't want your cinnamon rolls tasting like mint. So what you want to do is just run your floss right underneath and go about, I'd say 2 inches thick. Come across and just squeeze. And there it is, perfectly cut. And then you just stick it right in a buttered baking dish. And repeat.
Okay, keep going. Yeah, go ahead now, continue. Yeah, do it.
All right, so now they're ready. Just cover them with another tea towel. They're gonna need a second rise for about 30 to 40 minutes. And you can probably go ahead and preheat your oven to 360 degrees. And remember what I said last time on the last episode, make sure you got that oven thermometer in there so it's the right temperature. Cover it up, let it rest. Okay, 30 minutes is up, and our cinnamon rolls have proofed once again, just a little bit, so they're ready to go in the oven. 360 degrees for about 20-22 minutes. All right, looks like they're just about done, and yeah, they're good to go. Beautiful. Just golden on the top, but you can still tell they're nice and soft. And I've got some icing here, which is on the recipe right on the blog right below, that I've already mixed together. It's really simple. It's just 3 ingredients: 3 tablespoons of butter, 3 cups of powdered sugar, and a 1/4 cup of milk, and a little tap of cinnamon in there. Just mix them all together and you're good to go. You can even put a little bit of orange zest or orange juice, just a splash in here, which to kind of kick it up a little bit, but this is just kind of traditional. So just give them a big glop on each one and spread it around like that. Oh man. All right. And that is one of the finest cinnamon rolls you'll ever eat. And that, I gotta just get me one here. I tell you what, guys, I really appreciate you joining me, even for the limited amount of episodes we've had. I hope this was kind of a special one for you guys, because it was for me. I love this recipe and the method. I hope you learned a lot just from the method itself. So anyway, I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and a great New Year. And thanks for joining me again. I'll see you next time.